All right, well, it is that time. Welcome to the Political Perspective. I am Reggie AKA SpeedinBullet here with B, 3 exclamation points. And always remember, if you are not political, you do not have a perspective. So B mentioned earlier, like how kind of uh ridiculous the news cycle is, and the political news is. And it seems like everything is political. But it almost feels like the country is on fire every single day. And the moment there's a breather, some other catastrophe or some other chaotic moment just pops up. Before I even start with what's going on this week in politics, I just want to ask, like, where are the Epstein files? I didn't even have that on here, but there's only been 1% of the Epstein files have been released, and the two House members who co-wrote the bill to release the Epstein files now is asking a judge to force the release of them. But the Department of Justice says they have like over 1 million files that they have not released, that they need to redact or scrub Trump's name out of it or whatever. But I think that all of this to me is another form of distraction. It's another form of distraction because you don't hear anything about the Epstein files anymore, which is horrible to the victims, but providing a cover for anybody that was involved. It's hard to believe that one man was that prolific to be able to have what they consider over 1,000 victims. Only one co-conspirator has went to jail. And we're talking about following the money. He's was an extremely wealthy financier, what they call him. And it's not logical that SAs that have been going on for over 2 decades, that there's nobody else involved. It doesn't seem logical. But outside of Trump news, I mean, the first thing I'm gonna talk about is obviously Trump invaded. Well, I can't really say Trump. I mean, it's really the United States because he represents us. But the United States did invade Venezuela, remove their president. That happened, I think, 2 weeks ago, and they, which left the vice president in charge of the government. But Trump has already threatened to invade Venezuela again if the vice president does not adhere to any of the terms that the United States has put on them. Trump has been calling himself Venezuela's de facto president, which he's not their president because they still have a president.
According to Wikipedia, he is.
Right. But what's interesting about that is, Trump is now, using the military to pretty much get people to, or get countries to, really to submit to whatever the United States wants them to. And with Venezuela, it's all about the oil. And most people knew that. You haven't even seen a boat strike since. It's pretty much was never about drugs, was never about keeping people safe. It looks like it was totally about oil. But what I think is interesting is Trump is meeting, I think sometime this week or early next week, with this woman whose last name was Machado. She won the Nobel Peace Prize this year, and obviously, Trump is, Trump was upset because he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize, which is ridiculous because he's bombed 8 countries. So how do you promote peace when you're bombing people? Like, to promote peace, you should be trying to negotiate, without using force. But he's meeting with her, which I think is going to kind of put pressure on that particular government to, not just do what Trump says, but to probably even go beyond that, with the threat of the administration kind of installing that person into the government, which has happened many times before. Especially in Latin America, the United States have participated and assisted in assassinations of heads of state all over the world. So taking out a country's leadership and installing someone in there is definitely par for the course for the United States. But so he's meeting with her to put some pressure on the government to make sure that they are doing exactly what Trump has said.
Now, I did see that what her name, Maria Corina Machado.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that she offered her Nobel Peace Prize to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, which sounds ridiculous, right? Like, I mean, what world are we living in, B? I mean, the world is upside down. A world leader who you have to believe that you deserved it, you accepted it,
yeah,
and you're offering one of the highest honors that you can receive in the world. You're offering that. Why? Just so Trump can support you being put into power? Like, that in many ways kind of means that you don't really deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's like winning the Super Bowl and then handing the trophy to the losing team. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, like it doesn't make any sense. It's about definitely un-American. But if you're doing that just to appease his ego, like, I mean, I've never even thought that you could forfeit or hand it over to someone else. Like, that's absolutely like ridiculous.
Yeah. James will tell you one of my favorite sayings, I say it all the time, is that all the rules are made up, and nothing illuminates that more than this administration and the things that they do and the things they get away with and attempt to get away with.
Yeah. Kind of following I want to say following the oil. So Trump this week, he met with a whole bunch of oil execs to convince them convince them to finance getting oil from Venezuela. And Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the world, but they don't have a really good infrastructure to extract that oil. So Trump has met with some oil execs to get their money to invest in upgrading the infrastructure of Venezuela. But what's interesting is a lot of these oil execs have really like poured cold water on that. Like, we're not investing in a country that is possibly on the brink of civil war. Like, I'm not sending my folks down there to get killed by some rogue gang that, we're not doing that. So Trump, in his infinite wisdom of thinking that everybody's only motivation is money, he's even being curbed by people whose sole motivation is money.
Yeah.
But the self-preservation of my people being sent over there has in some ways trumped that desire to get oil from Venezuela. But
now, what other companies? The one that I saw was Exxon. I saw that, Trump did say that he was probably going to not include Exxon. Because Exxon, I don't know if they were first or the loudest, but they did voice their concerns about the attempt to extract the oil from Venezuela. What other companies was it?
So there was not a specific list, because with this administration, you already know you cannot even voice concern or opposition, especially publicly, because you'll be like Exxon, So, behind the scenes they're saying it, but Exxon has been the only one to actually officially say that. And they haven't said that we're not going to do it, but they're just saying that there are some challenges, and no one wants to invest in a country that's unstable. And I think that's one of the reasons why Trump didn't remove the entire Venezuelan cabinet, because that will turn a country, really into civil war quickly. Because now people are going to be fighting, for those positions. And whoever has the military or the weapons are going to be the ones that win. And we see unfortunately civil wars happening, all over the world, most notably in Africa, where there's an issue with the government, and now people are like taking sides and taking arms to fight it out. And you don't want to see that. You definitely want to see that if you're even thinking about investing in some country. So interesting, But I think we all realize now there was a lot of conversation about why is Trump bombing these boats, and it was all just really just a pretext to be able to go in there, and take their president. Which I mean, nobody is defending the president. I mean, the president of Venezuela appears to be as terrible as he's depicted. But it would be, but just because we think or know that a politician is terrible, that's just kind of out of bounds to go into another country and like kill a bunch of people just to snatch him up. And we all see it
definitely wasn't an altruistic thing that to get Nicolas Maduro. This is like 3 more seasons of Landman right here, just in this story.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in other news in Latin America, I mean, Trump did threaten the president of Colombia, threatened him with the same fate. Yes, he's accused their president Gustavo Petro, which I think is funny because last name Petro, but So he said that he trafficked cocaine, which is kind of like an easy dig for Colombia. Like, I mean, but to say that the president is trafficking cocaine, without providing any evidence, but just in a show of how I don't want to say crazy, but just how easy it is to get on Trump's bad side. The president of Colombia called Trump and had a 55-minute conversation with him. And as a result of this conversation, then Trump put on Truth Social that now the president of Colombia is a great guy. We see eye to eye on many things, and he's inviting him to the White House. So 55 minutes of probably stroking Trump's very, very small ego. And it went from you're next to you're next and you're trafficking cocaine to now we besties. And world decisions and world order is made based on stroking Trump's ego. It's actually ridiculous.
Very fragile.
We can even see it. We see it play out if you go and just Google Trump's True Social post about the president of Colombia. He calls him says he's next, calls him a cocaine trafficker, and then the next post after they talk, they good. That's how world decisions are made today. Based on just stroking somebody's ego. But in other Trump threatening moves, he's threatened to annex Greenland again. So after the Venezuelan thing, now Trump said that we need Greenland. He keeps saying that we need Greenland, and he's not ruling out taking Greenland by force. Which his reason, and also his administration, including Stephen Miller, who's his top aide, looks like powder to me, but that's a whole nother story. But to say that the United States needs Greenland is not even recognizing what the map looks like, because Trump says that we need Greenland for national defense, right? And we have military bases in Greenland. No one else has military bases in Greenland, not China, not Russia. Those are the only people that we have any type of global issue with, right? But even the proximity of Greenland, it's close to Russia, and Trump says he doesn't want Russia to get into Greenland, which they never will. But if you look at a map, you'll realize that Alaska has a 2-mile strip that during the wintertime you can walk over to Russia. So Russia is already our neighbor, right? That's one of the reasons why we acquired Alaska, is to give us some buffer between Russia and the mainland United States. So all of this about national security, we have an actual state that pretty much borders Russia. So I mean, we're already neighbors. We're already at each other's doorstep. I don't understand the Greenland thing, but how
it's very unclear.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It has to be something. It has to be something that they're not saying that they want out of Greenland. And it's not as easy as Trump thinks it is, because Greenland is attached to Denmark. So Denmark is a country that's in NATO. which the United States is a member of NATO, and NATO has a charter that says if any of their countries are attacked, then all of the countries will come together and they would defend that country.
Right.
So if the United States are going to try to take over Greenland, that would be in violation of the NATO charter. So I don't really see how that's going to play out. The Greenlander people don't want it. I mean, and in this climate, does anybody want to be American?
No.
Right?
No, just no.
Yeah, I mean, and but it just lets you know that it doesn't really have to make sense, But what I believe it is, I believe that Trump just wants to have that on his resume as a president that expanded the territory of the United States. I think it's really as simple as that. I don't think it has anything to do with national security, has anything to do with natural resources, nothing to do with the military. I just think that he just wants to have that feather in his cap.
Yeah.
Be like, I was able to expand territory in the United States, and that would be something that would be written, by his name as something that he did as a president, regardless of how it was done.
What I thought was rich and ironic is him saying that just because someone landed a boat there 500 years ago,
right, that was
doesn't mean that. I'm sorry, yes, Stephen Miller. Just because someone landed a boat there 500 years ago doesn't mean that the land is theirs. That's hilarious.
Hilarious, considering
for all the obvious reasons. We don't need
for all the obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
For all the obvious reasons. But I mean, they, those types of folks don't see the irony of anything. They don't see how ridiculous they sound. They just talk because they think that their way just cannot be disputed, and they're just always right.
Mm-hmm.
That next thing I want to talk about is some that I kind of find a little bit ridiculous, but the Trump administration has started a process where they're trying to strip Senator Mark Kelly of his military rank in order to lessen his pension. Right. So Mark
I
Kelly,
didn't see this.
Yeah, Mark Kelly made he was a part of I think it was 6 other Democratic politicians that put out a video that said that the military members do not have to follow unlawful orders. And this has caused a lot of controversy. People are like, well, this video is telling service people not to follow orders, but it specifically says unlawful orders. And there's a kind of like a process. There was a process in the military where you actually had like JAG officers that would actually tell you whether or not how you are engaging in battle is legal. I mean, there are rules of engagement when you are at war, when you're doing military exercises, and you would have JAGs that would let the generals and the people that are in charge know whether or not these orders are correct. Or you can go to these JAG officers and you can ask, like, is this a lawful order? Trump didn't like that, which is obvious in the military. That's a part of their code. But Trump didn't like that. So in his and Secretary of Defense /War, in their infinite pettiness, they're trying to knock down his rank, so he will not receive the same amount of retirement funds that he receives after doing, I think, 25 years in the military. Just the height of pettiness, that they would look to, essentially court-martial him, but you can't be court-martialed if you're not actually in the military. You have to be in the military active to be court-martialed. But to try to just so petty to try to take this man's rank and take some of his pension after he served so long and he's decorated. I think he flew planes, a helicopter, like a decorated serviceman. Just kind of lets you see just the pettiness that the Trump administration, that the height of their pettiness.
Right. The lengths they'll go to be petty.
It sees no limit. I want to talk about the ICE shooting. So James, you could pop on. I want to just kind of talk about And in case the audience doesn't know, last week, I think on January 8th, either the 7th or the 8th.
I think it was the 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
The 6th? All right, you
no,
got
no, it's January 6th it's 7th. You're right, it's the 7th.
Yeah, yep. There was an ICE operation in Minnesota that resulted in a 37-year-old woman being shot 3 times. I think a couple times in the face by ICE officer. She ended up, crashing her car, and she died from her, from her wounds or whatever. And if anybody hasn't seen the video, there are multiple angles of the interaction, and some of the angles are kind of difficult to really kind of see what happened, but it doesn't appear that the woman was attempting to run this ICE officer over with the car. It doesn't appear that way because she was turning her wheel or whatever. But the police always have the police can always say that they fear for their life.
Yeah.
It does, and it really doesn't matter how we view it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is interesting is before all of the evidence or any of the evidence was even stated, Trump and also Homeland Security Director Kristi Noem had already called this woman a domestic terrorist and said she was trying to run the person over, and didn't really want to even do any type of investigation. And now they're doing an investigation. However, they're not including the local law enforcement in this investigation. I can tell you that it's unusual for that to happen, and that can only be done because they probably don't want them to get the full picture of what happened. But I think that anyone that sees the video can see that that the woman was not trying to run the ICE officer over. But also, I mean, and this is kind of like, and this speaks to what ICE is in the community. This officer was filming her with his personal cell phone.
With his cell phone.
So, and he walks around the car. So he walks in a way where he walks around her. So he sees her. She has a slight interaction with him. She says something to the effect of, "I'm not mad at you," or something like that. So she doesn't even appear to be agitated, excited, whatever. But he walks around with his cell phone and he films her license plate, films the passenger side of her vehicle, and then he proceeds to walk in front of her vehicle. And as he gets to the furthest, as he gets to like the driver's side of her vehicle, some ICE officers pull up, try to grab out the car. She spins off, and then he lets off a bunch of shots. And it's obviously dangerous to let off shots in a residential area. Could hit anybody. But the fact that he actually walked in front of her car with a cell phone, and we've all tried to record things with our cell phone. It's very difficult to be aware of our total surroundings when we're walking with a cell phone in our hand. But the fact that a police officer would be filming somebody with a cell phone, but he walks directly in front of her car. So, I mean, it's hard to imagine that he felt like she was any threat if he walked in front of her car. So, but I think it highlights a larger kind of issue with ICE is in the fact that they, for the most part, ICE doesn't they don't have body cams.
Right.
So he's using his camera, his personal, and that has to just be, I mean, he's using his personal cell phone to record an interaction. But as a result, there has been a lot of protests and a lot of unrest in Minnesota. And, one of the things that I wanted to kind of ask you guys is I've seen quite a few posts, and there is a thread kind of running through our Black community that says that these issues that's happening with ICE, with the undocumented population, with everything that's involved with that, immigrations, that as Black people, we have been on the forefronts of civil rights that have not only helped and assisted Black people, but have helped and assisted a lot of other people. And that this is a fight that we don't have to engage in also, that this is a fight that we need to step aside and let someone else fight this battle. I wanted to bring James on here because what's interesting is the two biggest areas in the country that have undocumented immigrants are Florida and Texas, and we don't see these types of operations in any of these states. In blue states, there are things called sanctuary cities. So if you hear somebody talk about a sanctuary city just means that a city has declared, and our sheriff, has some choice words for ICE. But a sanctuary city just means that a city is not going to use their resources to assist with immigration efforts. And also they're not going to hold people. So ICE wants cities to hold people beyond their sentence. So if you're an undocumented person and say you got locked up for, I don't know, DUI, and you had to do 30 days or something like that, ICE wants the city or the prison to hold you for additional days while they come and get you. And cities are like, if you serve your 30 days, we can't even ethically hold you longer.
Right.
Just so ICE can pick you up. Now, if ICE want to sit outside, they can, but they want them to be able to, for them to hold a prisoner. But I know I kind of got off of it. But what do you guys think about that thread in our community about this being a fight that we just should not engage in?
So I feel like on one hand, there's probably a group of us that feel like, well, ICE ain't coming for us, and ICE ain't gonna come for us. So why should I be involved in it? And on top of that, would those same people that are being harassed and threatened by ICE, would they stand for issues in the Black community, or would they turn a blind eye to it? So again, why should I support it, right? But then you brought up a great point when you talked about, like, think of the civil rights movement. There were people that had no dog in the fight that stood right next to Black people. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate, and there are prejudice in all ethnicities, like, there are stereotypes and things like that. But as far as Black people are concerned, at least that's what I thought, that Black and brown people had more of a common ground than any other race. Now, I understand that in certain places there is a war between Black and brown people, like in LA and things like that with the gang culture and stuff like that. But I mean, I always thought that it was like, we almost come from the same. You know what I'm saying? Latin.
Wait, James. We do come from the same.
Right. Latin roots are in Africans, right? So I will be honest with you. You know me, I'm not super political, although I see the things that are posted. I'm on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Y'all put things in the in our chat. And I did say to myself, like, this year, I would probably be more in tune with the political landscape, because, a lot of things do directly affect my family in a lot of different ways. And with this, more importantly, I really started to think about it like, we are in Florida. It's a high population of Latin Americans. My wife being of Latin American descent, right? So, like, could she be mistaken on some ICE agent raid type shit? You know what I'm saying? And then it'd be like, so also to speak to your point, Reggie, where you're like, this thread of us that feel like we ain't got nothing to do with it, so we gonna sit this one out. You don't got nothing to do with it until you got something to do with it, right? So at that point, it's too late. You know what I'm saying? You in it by you know what I'm saying? So it does worry me. I do think about it more and more to this day. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I did see somewhere and I forgot where this was, but it was on Twitter, where ICE agents they harassed a black man.
Yeah.
Like tear gassed them or whatever like that. So, and while you were talking, I was trying to look up like some of the liberties that ICE agents have, what they have and what they don't have, you know what I mean, how they're categorized and things like that. And while they aren't like police, they have a lot of liberties of the police, like especially the use of deadly force.
Yeah.
So it's like it is a scary time that we are living in. And, you know, I pray to God that it never crosses my doorstep. But I don't think as black people, I don't think we should sit this one out, man. I mean, I feel like we as a people, we march for everybody, yo. For real, for real. Yo. Like when it comes to a march or it comes to a fight, you can always find a nice amount of black people that are supporting that movement, even though it don't have nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is any different.
Yeah. Let me ask you a couple of things, or kind of just put a few things into perspective. So, you know, I think there's a misconception that ICE is only targeting people of Latin descent, you know, or people that just look Latin. And I think that one of the reasons why ICE is in Minnesota is because of the Somalian community and this the charge that they're all kind of fraudsters or whatever. And we don't really realize that a lot of our you know, brothers and sisters are from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
You know, and I know quite a few of them who are undocumented. A lot of our folks from Africa are undocumented. So, and the reason why I bring that up is I seen a video of a Somalian that was harassed. He was driving Uber. He was parked in a spot that was exclusively for Uber drivers. It's a ride share spot at the airport. He was harassed, and I looked at him and I said, before he spoke, he looked like any of us. Mm-hmm. And you can imagine white people think we all look alike. Right. And to this day, my boss, we get mistaken for each other every day. And these people that we work with still. And my boss, I mean, we got a similar beard, but his beard is way bigger than mine. And he has locks and glasses. And people
I'm about to say, y'all don't even look alike.
Nothing. But to the white mind, sometimes we do. Right. So because we all look alike, right? So there's no reason why you won't be questioned about your citizenship, right? And you also have to take this into consideration. How do you prove you're a citizen? There's really only one way to prove. Well, there's only one way for an American-born person to prove that they're a citizen, and that is to produce a birth certificate. Right. How many people
carry that shit?
Exactly. How many people don't carry a birth certificate? We all even told not to carry it, right? Right. But how would you prove?
Oh, well, you gotta have your license, right, Reggie?
You don't have to be a citizen to have a license. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen to have a license. You have to
produce a birth certificate for that.
No, you absolutely do not.
You're right.
Absolutely do not.
That's just one form of ID that you provide.
Absolutely. So just pulling out a driver's license is not enough.
Yeah.
So, and that's where some black people have been detained, and some American citizens from that look Spanish or are Spanish, you know, because a lot of Hispanics are Americans. They're born here, been here for years, right? But in order for them to have been released, they had to produce a birth certificate.
Yeah.
What if you can't find that, Joan? How many people can readily locate their birth certificate?
You're right.
Can you locate the birth certificate of your child? Right, like those are the things that like you say, until you're faced with that, and you brought up a factor, you know, just your wife and your children, they don't look black.
Yeah,
I mean, so they can easily, and we've seen stories of kids being taken by ICE.
Yeah,
you know, so it is something, but like that was like the question that I've asked a few people is like, how do you prove you're a citizen? Because if people can mistake us for each other, Imagine some white boy from Nebraska that ain't really seen no black people. Like, we can look at black people and tell they ain't American, right? Kinda, right? Kinda. You know, and normally is when they talk, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, some people, like, especially some African countries got some really, really heavy features, right? Mm-hmm. But for the most part, we all black. And if it's a room full of us, we all the same. But what say you, B?
Yeah, I think the algorithm is doing me a favor because I haven't really seen those pockets of our community saying that we should sit this one out. I think it's doing me a favor because I think I see enough terrible things that already fuck with my psyche as far as ICE and what's happening in this country, and I don't need to see that because that type of sentiment is stupid. It's stupid to take what you said on that post, Reggie. It's just a really dumb sentiment to have, to think that the government and how a white woman was shot in the head. What are you talking about? Why do you think that we as black people would be exempt from anything? It's only, in my opinion, it's only the natural order of things. My original theory was, okay, he wants to get the illegal immigrants out of the country, and my original, you want to get illegal immigrants out of the country and then make blacks the new immigrants. Give us the jobs that the immigrants are willing to do, and make that our jobs, like a new form of slavery, huh?
And B, a very easy way to do that, right? Like, some people think these things are far-fetched. An easy way to do that, and they're kind of doing it now. You're not able to receive SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
You're not able to receive Medicare unless you work, and you're gonna work here.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, so what B is saying, it's not far-fetched. Yeah. It's not far-fetched. Like, with the work requirements that they have for any social safety net, they can make people.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy, but I mean, B is not far off. Like, to create a permanent kind of second class.
Yeah.
Like, this would be step one.
I mean, I did see 2 days ago or yesterday, again, a week's worth of news is 4 years worth, where he talked about, Trump talked about the civil rights protections.
Oh my God.
Where he talked about the civil rights protections cause white people to not be treated very nicely. So that's on his radar. I that sentiment, please, if that's just sentiment that, we need to sit this one out. I've said way early on that my only hope with what this administration is doing is that it unites us as people,
right,
and brings us together, which all the videos are terrible, but the video with the Uber driver, I did see that people of all races were standing up for him. I'm all over the place because it's a lie. I don't get the Minnesota thing. Me personally, I know you said you think it's because of Somali population, and I think he really fucking hate Tim Walz.
Yeah,
I think he just wants to fuck with him.
Yeah,
because as you said earlier, I don't get why, Florida and Texas wasn't where, if this was a honest attempt to get illegal immigrants out the country, I don't know why he didn't start there. These aren't the violent criminals, like these regular people.
Yeah, some quick numbers. ICE has, I think, deployed over 3,000 agents to Minneapolis. They only have a police force of 600.
Yeah.
Put that into perspective. Like, put that into perspective of not just the size of the city, right? Because, the city is smaller. They're going to have a much less police presence. Like, I think Philadelphia is, 3,500.
Yeah.
Give or take. And they're not even at full capacity. They might only have 3,000 officers in a big city. So this city normally has 600 officers. And now there are 3,000 ICE officers, ICE agents. And Yeah, I'm with you, B. It has to just be a fuck you to Tim Walz because he ran against Trump and obviously didn't have anything good to say about Trump, as no politician does when they're running against somebody. And you know what better way for me to inflict pain to you than to destroy your city and to destroy your state over people that you don't give a fuck about anyway. Like Trump, right. Trump don't give a fuck about nobody that ain't vote for him. And he really don't give a fuck about people that did vote for him. Like Trump only give a fuck about Trump. So I mean, it'd be terrible if he's just doing this to settle a score. You know,
I truly believe that. I truly believe that. But I just want to reiterate: if that's the sentiment that you feel as Black people, that we could sit this one out or we shouldn't have to worry about it, I think you're being obtuse and willfully obtuse, because if you're a certain age, you lived in this country, you should know. I would like to believe you know better. You've seen enough to know better.
Are these intelligent Black people that you see saying this?
That would be judgmental.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Funny. I mean, I think that, you know, you could have intelligent people that just don't have humanity and empathy in their heart. And if you're someone, and I know for a fact that all three of us are, if you're someone that sees an injustice or something that we just know is wrong, that you know that's gonna motivate, that's gonna drive us, you know, and we never want to see anybody wrong. Right. Like I don't care who it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even like we should know that we next. Yeah. I mean that train, like Chris Rock said, that train is never late. Yeah. Like that train is never late. Like there's never been a time where we weren't under attack. So that train is never late. That train is moseying on along, but they never late. Before I go on, I want to just give you some numbers. Inflation right now is at 2.7% and steady. So that's pretty good for the economy. The unemployment is at 4.4%. The Black unemployment is near 6.5%. The price of eggs, which people kind of in economics, they use like the price of eggs as like a indicator. I don't even eat eggs, but they use price of eggs as like an indicator of whether or not prices are up or down. Eggs is at $2.86 a carton and steady, not going up or down. And gas is at $3.23 and steady. So the economy is pretty steady. It's not falling by the wayside. Job creation is another metric that they use. And Trump has only created 50,000 jobs for the month, which is the lowest job creation since COVID. So job creation is slow, and that is an indication that there may be some issues within the economy. The last thing I want to talk about is Trump's golf trip so far. So far in the Trump turn, he's the American taxpayers have spent $126 million so far on Trump golf trips in the first term. I mean in the first year of his second term. For comparison, Obama spent $57 million during that same time period. And the way this is calculated, like it costs a lot for a president to go golfing. Right? We're talking about they gotta shut down a whole golf course.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on, Reggie. So when you were first saying it, I thought that's what you were talking about, right?
Yes.
But then when you said Obama, I said, oh, maybe he's saying trips to the golf.
No, playing golf, golf in the golf shirt.
Right.
Wow.
What's actually interesting is some of Trump's golf trips are at his own golf courses, which he's charging. It's ridiculous. He's just the world's biggest grifter. But but Obama for the same time span, he spent $57 million for comparison.
What did Biden do?
Joe Biden wasn't a really big golfer. So in his whole entire presidency, Joe Biden spent $56 million in golf in 4 years. Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, Trump's golfing is not typical.
Right.
It's not typical, right, at all. But nothing Trump does is typical. So yeah, nah. I mean, presidents don't normally go golfing as much. But he's gonna break all kinds of records, for golfing. But I think it's interesting to point out the thing about waste fraud and abuse. I mean, if I'm the president, I mean, I may love golfing, but if it's causing me $20 million an outing, I don't know, and maybe that's because I'm an average guy. I mean,
it might cost more. Your the bike trips might cost more than $20 million out.
Yeah, Mike.
They got to shut down some roads. You got to have. I mean, Reggie gonna fuck that deficit up.
Yeah,
gonna fuck up a check.
It's interesting. When I first saw the number and I started researching it, it's kind of ridiculous how much money presidents spend golfing. And I got another numbers for you guys. So the Department of Defense has said that they want to. Their Cabinet Secretary Pete Hegseth has said that he wants to officially change the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Now he's currently like telling people we're not a Department of War, right? So in order to officially change it to Department of War, it will cost. The estimates are it will cost between 10 million and hundreds of million to change the name, because we're talking about insignias everywhere. And we're talking about insignias all over the world. Right, and they do these studies where they try to figure out how much something costs. And they said that if it's just something as simple as maybe just a name change, it might be like 10 million. But if it's anything that's very complicated, it could cost in the hundreds of millions.
And what's his reason?
Because I mean, he hasn't really given a real reason, but I guess to make it appear more offensive than defensive.
Right.
Like the Department of Defense means that I'm defending our territory. Department of War is like I'm coming to take
I'll fuck
shit.
You up. Miss Ann, I'll fuck you up.
Right, exactly.
Very intimidating. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Department of War.
So do you feel like besides that, it's just like we can do this and we just gonna do it?
Yeah. I mean, there's no guardrails. I mean, I have another kind of section of like court cases that Trump has lost. So a lot of the stuff that Trump attempts to do does get blocked in court. A lot of the stuff does go through, and even some of the stuff that gets blocked, they just say we don't care.
Yeah,
like they say we won't care. Like they don't have any respect for court cases. Like they feel like
the
judge
rules are made up.
A judge should not be able to stop the executor, which is the president. A judge somewhere in Pennsylvania,
right,
not be able to stop something that the president has declared should be done. And normally it would be a court case, and the courts would decide, but they don't respect the courts.
What's the name of that movie?
Say what?
What's the name of this movie we in, yo?
All When Things Fall Apart. Yeah. All right, so that's all I got. B, you got anything else for the folks?
No, I ain't got nothing. That was great. I mean, it's 100 other things to talk about. Again, we didn't talk. I briefly brought up the civil rights protection. He said today that maybe we shouldn't have an election. Talking about the midterms, like I said, it's a week's worth of stuff. I just was thinking about how if we were under a different administration, the plaques that were put on the presidents that's not even talked about, not even a thing. Right. That would have been talked about for 2 years. But so much shit happens with this guy. We can't. The Epstein files, we can't even talk about it because it's just so much shit that happens on a weekly basis. It's insane.
The petty in chief.
Yeah.
Petty in chief. Like you think you petty, James?
Right.
Trump
Right.
is petty,
Imagine his
boy.
fantasy football conversation.
Yeah.
When he don't get a trade, he won.
Yeah. Trump is petty.
Jesus. Right.
Trump is petty. That boy is petty.
Sending ice to your crib, nigga.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You gonna trade
Close
this
this out,
person,
Reggie.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, that's all we got. So, if you're not political and you do not have a perspective,